Welcome to Crime Beat Most Wanted. I'm Tracy Tong. Tonight, police are on the hunt for a suspect they say is wanted in a brazen mass shooting in Edmonton. As clubgoers exit out to the streets at closing time, they are caught in the crossfire
Somebody got shot.
of multiple gunmen who allegedly fire over 70 rounds, injuring 7 and killing a young father and husband. Saed Osman is one of Canada's most wanted. Police say that he fled the scene of Edmonton's Ertale lounge and has been allegedly evading arrest for a year and a half. Tonight, they are asking for your help in tracking him down. Here now is Morgan Black with the hunt for most wanted, Saed Osman.
Inglewood, a residential neighborhood just over a 20-minute bus ride from downtown Edmonton. On Friday nights, a place to celebrate the end of the work week and bar hop.
It was that night that there was a bunch of lounge goers and folks just out having a good time.
On live stream, Ertale Lounge's cool Middle Eastern vibes keep club goers until closing time.
On the early morning hours of March 12th, 2022, that good time was suddenly interrupted with a horrific crime that occurred.
Lock the door. Lock the door. Lock, please. Lock the door. It doesn't matter.
There was a police unit that was right in the area that actually heard the gunshots, didn't know where they were coming from, but suspected it was from that 118th Avenue area.
Officer.
They were first on scene.
Officer. Somebody got shot. He's dead. He's dead. Where? I can't hold him in the car.
So they saw sort of the casualties and people still scrambling and fleeing. And then right to the EMS folks that arrived, it was just, triaging. It was a combination of men and women. They were all club goers, 7 different injured people, and treating their injuries, and then, getting them off to hospital as quick as they could. It was very chaotic in the early stages until we could stabilize the scene, the area, and the people and witnesses.
As day breaks, the terror comes to light.
It was outside this Edmonton lounge around 2:30 in the morning Saturday where 7 people were shot, 1 person died.
There was ambulances on the move, and I knew that something was cooking because there was the SWAT team, that was had their lights on and were, racing to the scene.
And their injuries, they ranged from, one was a fairly superficial wound, to others were more critically injured that underwent multiple surgeries, including one male victim lost his life that night.
The victim, 28-year-old Imbert George, died in what police are calling a mass shooting.
It was a lot of rounds. We believe upwards of 70 shots were fired into the front entrance area of the lounge from the front sidewalks.
Police blocked off a section of 118th Ave between 125th Street and 124th Street. And a block away from the lounge along the sidewalk, I could see bullet casings on the ground. An employee with the lounge says the business has video surveillance and has been turned over to police as the investigation continues.
Just hours ago, inside the Ertale Lounge, its victims were enjoying the night. Now, investigators gather evidence to try to find out what happened.
A lot of times when we're coming in to investigate shootings, you're now trying to work backwards and gather the evidence that's, that first 48 that everybody talks about. You want to be able to capture the right witness information, the right video. A lot of video out there will overwrite itself.
I got a call the morning after that happened from police to tell me that I can't access my business. I immediately hopped in my car, I drove there, and everything was taped around.
Mario Pavlovich owns the Bigfoot pub right beside the Ertale Lounge.
I was walking there and I was looking at the place. I was like, oh my God, there's so many bullet holes. And I looked down and there was still some casing that I actually missed. That's how many bullets they fired at that place.
I'm not sure exactly how many brass casings we recovered. The brass was scattered over a full kind of block radius there. I mean, there was broken glass in nearby businesses, and there was bullets recovered from the walls inside of the club, bullets recovered from some of the victims that were transported to hospital. From a forensic standpoint, it was quite a scene.
Police and reporters get anyone in the area they can to talk.
I spoke with multiple people in the area. None of the witnesses wanted to appear on camera. One woman says she was in the club that night. She says as the night was winding down, everyone started heading outside, and that's when the shooting happened. She says everyone outside started hiding and running away. She says she saw a security guard injured and laying on the ground. She managed to run away from the area, leaving her vehicle behind and taking a cab home.
There was probably 60 or 70 people. The majority of them were inside of the club, but there was 10 to 15 that were out front.
As clubgoers call it a night, surveillance footage captures shooters arriving.
The video was kind of from the street front, where you could see them coming from a couple of different directions at kind of staggered entry, and then they all fired their rounds in the same direction. We believe that there were 4 shooters in total.
I got to see the footage from a business that's on the street. So basically I remember seeing 3 guys in the front, masked. All 3 of them had modified handguns, what looked like extended magazines in them. 2 of them were standing still while shooting at the place, and the 3rd guy, he was jumping as he was shooting.
There's kind of a little, like a smoking area out front of the lounge. It was a fairly confined space. It was fairly crowded, even 10 or 15 people. There wasn't a lot of space there. And that's where a lot of the initial gunfire was directed at.
They all ducked down and they still got shot because the front face of the building was some sort of thin metal sheet, or so all the bullets went through.
It was just mass, chaos and people trying to scramble to get back inside the club, to seek cover and get away from the shots that were being fired.
Ambert George and his wife Cassandra, both busy working parents, were having a night out.
They were actually on the process of leaving. They were on their way out when it all happened, so just their timing was very unfortunate and kind of got caught in the volley of gunfire.
George was rushed to hospital and pronounced dead.
And that's shocking. It just makes you wonder, what the hell was going on, how did that even happen, right?
They scattered in different directions after the shooting took place, but we're confident that there were 4 different shooters that were acting in concert.
Entering the bend towards eastbound 153 Ave.
Later that night, police track a car fleeing the scene, and 2 men are arrested.
2 have been charged with first-degree murder and discharge a firearm with intent.
Police recover 3 guns and name a wanted suspect.
A Canada-wide warrant was also issued for another accused, that being 27-year-old Saed Osman. Mr. Osman is wanted for the first-degree murder of Mr. George, who unfortunately was murdered that night.
After the break, investigators learn who Saed Osman is and trace the guns used in this mass shooting across borders and to other crimes.
This was a mass shooting, and this could have easily been 10 or 15 people killed in this incident. It was that violent, brazen, and random.
Welcome back to Crime Beat Most Wanted. Tonight, police are on the hunt for one of Canada's most wanted, Saed Osman. Take a good look. He is described as 6 feet tall or 183 centimeters. He has black hair and brown eyes and weighs about 180 pounds or 82 kilograms. He is wanted for first-degree murder and 6 counts of discharging a firearm with intent to endanger life. Police are asking you to be on the lookout and to call in tips that bring him to justice. We now return to Morgan Black and the hunt for most wanted, Saed Osman.
The city of Edmonton wakes up to news of a mass shooting.
A brazen shooting in north-central Edmonton yesterday has left many residents on edge. 7 people were shot and 1 person is dead, while 2 people remain in hospital in serious condition. This all happened outside of a nightclub along 118th Avenue and 124th Street at around 2:30 a.m. yesterday.
Makes me not want to come out. I didn't even want to come out. I just wanted to see what was happening.
It will be difficult for us. It will impact our feeling in the area, how safety, community safety, neighborhood safety.
We caught a fish.
The shooting took the life of a young father and husband, Imbert George.
He was same age as me, born in the same year, very respectful, friendly. He did not deserve what happened to him.
The people that were affected and injured and the person that was killed, we believe were innocent bystanders. We don't believe that they were targeted in this shooting. They just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
In Edmonton, gun violence is on the rise. And the community is caught in its crossfire.
We've seen a steady increase with gun violence in our city.
Okay, firing.
We're seeing more guns on our streets. I would say across the country, we unfortunately are one of the leading the way on number of shootings and the gun violence increase that's going on here.
Eric Stewart's in charge of the Guns and Gangs unit. He's seen a 40% increase in shootings so far this year, but none like the Ertale Lounge.
I think the Ertale Lounge, the difference from that from other events is the multiple shooters and the multiple rounds.
Investigators spend days gathering ballistic evidence, and they recover 3 handguns.
The 3 guns that were seized from our suspects or were found at the crime scene. What the process is those firearms will go to our firearms examination unit here in Edmonton.
So this is where we receive all of the intake of our firearm exhibits. So the crime scene members will process them, meaning they'll do DNA and fingerprint analysis on the firearm exhibits, and then they'll be transferred to our unit.
From the crime scene into Kayla's hands, where she works to trace its past.
In the last 2 years, we've processed about 650 firearms, everything from a pistol to a homemade firearm.
The Firearms Examination Unit opened 2 years ago to keep up with the growing gun problem.
So now it's ready to fire. There's no ammunition in it. I've already made sure that it's safe.
Here, they work to test all firearms, from ghost guns to the automatic and semi-automatic handguns recovered from the Ertale crime scene.
When you're shooting one of these firearms, it's not like the old standard rifle where you get one shot and you get to control it and reload. These are semi-automatic handguns, right? And if you have no experience with these firearms and we've never shot one of these firearms, there's no control. And so when there's no control, that causes these rounds to go everywhere they want to go. You're firing that many rounds, you have no control over a firearm, and you can shoot 30 rounds in less than 2 seconds. Even us as police who shoot these for training cannot control these firearms.
The main purpose of test firing is to collect the cartridge casings, so the fired casings will be collected for IBIS purposes and for comparison purposes.
We're looking at cartridge cases and bullets on a microscopic level. We can often use magnification up to 104 times.
The spent casings from firearms have unique markings.
So every gun has a unique fingerprint that's based on the way it was manufactured as well as wear and tear on the gun after it was released into circulation. This means that it's possible to link fired cartridge cases and fired bullets back to that same firearm.
They enter each casing into IBIS, the Integrated Ballistic Identification System, which compares it to others on file.
It can link crimes together. It can determine the number of shooters that were present. It can also link scenes over time. So if a lead was found a few years apart and those cartridge cases match up, you can say that the same gun was used for both scenes.
They discover that one of the guns seized already has a violent history.
One of the firearms we seized in Ertale Lounge, we were able to link to 4 other shootings in Ontario through our IBIS instrument in our firearms examination unit. That information has since been shared with those investigators in Toronto, and they're now looking at leads from our file and who was arrested on this to see if there's any leads on their end.
As the investigation continues, they trace these guns back to their very beginnings.
So we were able to look at the serial numbers attached to the firearms. It gives us an identity of what that firearm is, where it was originated from. In this event, these firearms specific, we were able to determine that these were US sourced firearms. And we were able to trace these back to 2 specific buyers down in Texas, which are still ongoing investigations.
And they uncover that they were bought not long before the mass shooting.
One gun was purchased 60-some days before the event in Edmonton. We're seeing our time to crime, where guns were purchased and then used in an event, the days shrinking. So it means that the guns being purchased somewhere and ending up somewhere in Canada in a short amount of time, coming across our border, ending up all the way from Texas, all the way up into Edmonton.
As the gun's criminal history grows, so too does this investigation.
What I can say, between the 2 of them, they purchased 58 handguns in that time period down there when they were purchasing. And we've already had 6 recovered here in Canada in different police investigations.
After the break, police doubled down on their hunt for Saed Osman by naming him one of Canada's most wanted and release a photo of a 4th suspect in the Ertale Lounge mass shooting. Welcome back to Crime Beat Most Wanted. Police are on the hunt for Saed Osman, who is also known as Guled Osman, or by his nickname Styles. He's wanted for first-degree murder and 6 counts of discharging a firearm at the Ertale Lounge in Edmonton. Police are asking you to call Crime Stoppers if you know anything on his whereabouts. And a reminder, it's anonymous. Here's more on the hunt for most wanted, Saed Osman.
Edmonton's Ertale Lounge was the tragic place of a mass shooting. If you look closely, you can see the damage caused by multiple gunmen.
I think it's a reasonable assumption to believe that there was somebody or a group inside of that club that this group of shooters had a beef against, and they were there to try and settle that, but they really missed the mark.
I heard that it was a feud from many years ago and it was going back and forth with violence. I heard that people came from Toronto and there were 3 guys in front, and I heard that there was another one in the back.
These individuals knew when they fired that gun that they were going to probably hit people inside that bar. And the total disregard for human life in that was very unique and concerning for us.
I hear emotion in your voice when you're talking about the disregard for human life and the severity.
Yeah, and that continues on now, today, right? The chance for innocent bystanders to be struck by a stray bullet is high in our city. We need to get a handle on it. We're trying to get a handle on it. We're dedicating resources to this so we can try to bring the temperature down and start suppressing some of this. Make it uncomfortable for these guys to be in our city.
We've identified 3 of them. 2 have been arrested and charged already. But there's still 2 unknown suspects that we believe were involved that we're still trying to identify.
Police release a photo of a suspect, and they're still on the hunt for Saed Osman.
Police in Edmonton and across the country are on the lookout for 27-year-old Saed Osman.
To get help with the case, they partner with the BOLO program.
I don't think I've seen a case with such outrageous circumstances. This is nothing short of a mass shooting. This doesn't belong here. And that's why we're here today.
The BOLO program is offering an incentive for any information leading to his arrest.
Police say they know Osman needs to eat. He needs to sleep somewhere, so someone is helping him. They're hoping a reward will entice someone to talk.
An incentive they hope will bring Edmonton Police closer to justice for Imbert George and his family.
This individual needs to be captured and go through and face justice for what happened there to George. When he left that night to go to that bar, he never expected that to happen, right? No one, probably his friends didn't expect that to happen, but that's where we talk about sporadic brazen shootings. Everybody's affected, and that was a tragic outcome.
Since that day, 118th Ave is not the same. Mario Pavlovich used all of his savings to open the Bigfoot pub.
It scared a lot of people. The whole street experienced a sharp drop in revenue for many, many months after that. Nobody would come on the street for probably 2-3 months, after that.
How long did it take for your business to have to shut down after the shooting?
Oh, I was struggling for many, many months after that. It took probably about close to a year. I put my life into that, and I did not know what else to do, so I kept fighting and fighting and fighting, but it was a lost battle, and I had to step away.
The Ertale Lounge closed its doors, but the community is trying to rebuild, anxiously awaiting an arrest.
The sooner that we can locate him and get him arrested and bring him to justice, the better for us in our investigation, but more importantly, the better for the community and the country.
Here is one last look at Saed Osman. Police are asking you to keep an eye out. They say he has strong ties in Edmonton and Ontario. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. And remember, there is a reward for tips that lead to his arrest. This is Crime Beat Most Wanted. I'm Tracy Tong. Thank you for being with us on the hunt for Canada's most wanted fugitives. Take care, and we hope to see you again soon.
For more from Crime Beat, there are over 80 episodes of the Crime Beat podcast available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.